Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Um, I have a lot of things to say today, and I'm going to try to keep it as brief as I can, but I wanted to update you all on what's happening energetically right now and what I'm noticing in the field and what my clients are coming to me about. So, I want to start with saying that last year, at the end of the year, when we were preparing to go into 2021 and everybody was very excited about being done with 2020, I had a very distinct knowing that as hard as 2020 was, that this year was going to be harder. And what I'm coming to realize is that the reason why it's so much harder is because a lot of the energy that we were shifting through last year was externally focused. We had a lot of things to be afraid of. We had a lot of things to be worried about, to not know about. And now what we have is all of that still exists, and we have a lot of internal stuff coming to the surface to be healed and released. And it's been very, very intense. I keep thinking, okay, April, as we moved into April, I was like, okay, we're going to have a easier month this month. And if anything, I think it's more intense than it was in March. And, the speed at which we are moving through energy and shifts and changes and monumental perspective shifts is faster than anything that I've experienced. And yet, within that, there's still this feeling like it's not happening fast enough for most of us. And so, for me personally, over the last 6 weeks, I've been moving through some really deep work in my root and my sacral chakras so that I can better hold space in my solar plexus. Because our root and our sacral is all about our time here on earth, our emotions, our physicality, our strength, our support system, our structure. And the solar plexus is what allows us to kind of go out and take action in the world. And one of the energetic themes this month is clearing persecution energy. And when that theme came in, I went, oh boy, because I knew it was going to be big. And it's been very interesting to me how it's been showing up. And some of you might be able to relate to this. Feel free to comment. I'm watching the chat over here so I can keep an eye on what you guys have to say. But what's been happening is that rather than it being just external persecution energy, what I'm noticing many of us clearing at a really deeply profound level is persecution energy towards ourselves, where we have taken things that people have said to us or done to us or I guess placed on us, and we have internalized that, and we have been doing this internal persecution dance over and over and over again, where we're beating ourselves up in negative self-talk. And a lot of times how that shows up is we don't feel like we're supported, we don't receive support. And then when we don't get that support and we don't feel like we're supported, we stop trusting and we stop asking. And I just did a post on this last Friday, and you can go back and listen to that one if you want more details on that. But then we don't have any trust. And when we don't have any trust in being supported and feeling safe, then we don't have any trust in taking next steps and taking action and being in our courage and moving things forward. And then we get stuck. And so for me, how that's presented is my sciatica has been acting up, my root chakra, my sacral chakra is out of whack. And for the last 6 weeks, it's been feeling like I'm holding in the base of my body just like this. And so yesterday I went to the chiropractor and I woke up this morning and I went, holy shit, there's a lot of energy that was stuck in that part of my body that I've been calling to the surface to heal that is now moving. And I felt this dense weight in my body. And rather than wallowing in it, I said, okay, great, it's at the surface. Let me lean into it. And I had a really good cry, and my partner was able to hold me and support me as I had a really good cry. And I released a lot of energy this morning. But leading up to this, the last several weeks, I was so frustrated because I was like, this is never going to shift. And I just needed to surrender. And I knew I needed to surrender, but I also knew I needed support. And if you saw my last post, it took me 4 times before I actually got supported. I had to make 4 different appointments before I actually got supported. And that to me is indicative of the second theme of this month, which is courage, which is we don't take no for an answer, and we know and we lean into what it is that we need, and we keep asking, and we keep being courageous and asking again and again. And, the third theme this month is this idea of finding our inner knowing. And everything that I just talked about is necessary in order to open up to that inner knowing. If you have not done the work to let go of your lack of trust, if you have not done the work to let go of your feelings of being not supported, of dropping into that place of trust and knowing that you can be supported, then it's really, really hard to activate your inner knowing and take next steps. Because when we don't have a strong foundation, when the lower chakras are stuck and stagnant and we don't have a strong foundation, it's very, very difficult to put ourselves out there to take a new step or a next step and do something new. And this year is all about brand new energy, brand new beginnings, doing things differently, thinking outside of the box, blah, 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 blah. All of that stuff, all that Aquarian energy that I've been talking about, especially in January and February, I was really talking about that a lot. And many of us have stuck energy where we have looked at safety as what has existed in the past. And so when it comes to finding our inner knowing about taking next steps, it looks different this year. Last year, before everything started with COVID, I felt like it was easy for me to put a plan together and have a forward vision. But in the last year, we've learned how tenuous all of our plans are. And that's created this lack of trust within our solar plexus energy field that we can't take next steps, that we can't anchor into anything. And I think that's by design. I don't think that the way that we've been operating in the past, where we plan everything out and we have this like 5-year long-term vision, is going to fly anymore. We have access to instant manifestation. We have access to different energies now. And so it's asking us, how can you anchor into and root into the truth and the knowing within you, regardless of what's happening all around you? And I remember in January when I did my healing circle, we did a lot of work on the sacral and the root. And I said, y'all, you're going to need this activation all year, because so many things are going to come to the surface and so many things are going to be changing. You need to remember what it feels like to come back into your body and to anchor into what is true for you. And that idea of anchoring into what is true for us seems really simple, right? It's like, oh, of course I know what I want. Well, actually not. Most of the time when I work with clients and I say, what do you really want? They have no freaking idea. And a lot of the people that follow my work and resonate with my work are like me, and you have spent your life looking outside of yourself to what everybody around you wants and needs, and you've been attuning to that. And so when it comes time to come back into your core and take a next step based on your own inner knowing and your own truth, you have no idea how to do that because you've spent so much time attuning to what everybody around you wants. And I don't know about you all, but for me, sorry, I didn't mean to just hit the microphone. I don't know about you all, but for me, that has been my way of life for so long that unwinding from that pattern feels like a tall order. And so let me give you some ideas. So if you're used to attuning to what everybody else around you wants all the time, the first step is to become aware that that may be a pattern for you. Okay? Awareness is 95% of this. So really sit down and think about all the things that you're doing in your life and all the people that you're engaging with and all the activities that you're taking part in, and see how many of those are ones that you chose, that you yourself put forward as what you wanted to do. Just make yourself a list. And if that list isn't at least 50% things that you've chosen, this may be a thing for you. This attuning to what everybody else around you wants may be a thing for you. And so that's step one, right? And do not freak out and think, oh my God, I have to get rid of everything on this list that I didn't choose. That's not what I'm talking about, right? We just get aware that this may be a pattern that we carry. And then once you've become aware that you're carrying that pattern, it's important to keep that in the back of your mind so that when you are being presented with opportunities, when you are being presented with options and requests from those around you, that you are actually taking a moment to drop into your heart and your gut and say, is this something that I want to do? And by the way, let's fucking normalize that it's okay to not answer somebody right away when they ask something. So when they send you a text message and say, hey, do you want to go to dinner on Saturday night? And you're in this space of overwhelm and you have no idea what day it even is, that it's okay to not know if you want to go to dinner on Saturday night. Right? So, and that's a fine line. I realize that because you may also have patterning of being indecisive and never committing to anything. That's the other side of this coin, right? Where we never commit to anything because we're so in fear. And so it's about balance. It's about taking a pause and really dropping in and listening to what it is that you may want to be doing or you may not want to be doing, and then starting very simply by saying yes and no in a courageous way. And so just play with that for the next couple of weeks. Make your list. Look at the things that perhaps you've said yes to that you don't want to say yes to anymore, that maybe were not your choices. Have a good laugh that maybe there's like 90% of the things on that list that you actually didn't want to do. Isn't that funny, right? And then start showing up differently. Start paying attention to how you feel in your gut. And if you have no idea what you want or how you feel, then you need to come to my healing circle tomorrow night because that's what we're going to work on, right? We're going to start to build this connection to the solar plexus, but connecting the heart and the solar plexus and the throat, okay? So those three energy centers that are in a line together, they need to be connected and open because it doesn't do you any good to know that you don't want to do something and then for the throat to shut down. And there's a lot of reasons why that happens. It may be childhood trauma of your needs not being met and you always being disappointed, you always asking for help and nobody listening. It may be some toxic relationships that you've been through in your adulthood. It may be what's happening in the world out there and you just feel locked down. There's a lot of reasons why we may not be able to anchor into our solar plexus and then bring that up and through the throat chakra to speak those boundaries and to ask for what we need. And so if there are reasons that you're holding there, that's what we're going to work on, right? If there's trauma, that's what we're going to work on healing. And we're going to start to build some courageous fire inside of that solar plexus so that we can start to burn away some of that internal persecution energy and that negative self-talk that you may be carrying, right? So that's what we're going to work on tomorrow night. And if that resonates with you, I'll put the link in the comments and you can join us. And if not, that's totally okay, but just work with this as a point of awareness. Because I'm telling you right now that the speed at which things are going to be happening is going to continue to increase. Nobody is going to give you a pass to get off of the speeding train. You're going to have to pull the cord and get off. And so if you feel like everything is happening faster and faster and faster and faster and you have no control, then it's time to step into that inner fire, into that courageous action, and start setting those boundaries and speaking what you need and what you want and saying no and saying yes to things that are either in alignment or not in alignment. You're the only person that can do that. And this is stepping out of a lot of victim frequency that we get in this culture because we're conditioned, oh, we're too busy. We use being too busy as this like badge of honor sometimes. I know that was me when I was in the corporate space. It was like, oh yeah, I'm super busy, right? And then everybody went, oh, she's busy. She must be important, right? So we actually create hierarchy through this energy of busy. And then we don't say no to things because we're like, well, the hierarchy says that if I'm really busy, then I'm important. And so I need to keep saying yes to all of this stuff, right? You're the only person that can break that pattern. You can clear trauma, you can heal some wounds, you can do all of that stuff, but you actually have to choose that that's a truth and a pattern that you don't want to carry anymore. So start getting clear on what it is that you want. Start really listening And we'll be spending some time working on that tomorrow night if you want to join us. So I hope this helps. I hope this kind of sheds some light on the themes that are here this month and gives you a little bit more to chew on. If you're feeling a lot of stuff in the body, just know that there's a ton of density that we're moving through right now. Tomorrow we start about a 20-day portal of a lot of new energy coming in and a lot of clearing happening that is going to be, I think, a bit more energizing. It might still be challenging, but I think we're going to have a lot more energy coming in, a lot more fire, a lot more solar energy coming in. So comment, let me know how this resonates with you. It's really good to hear from you. And thank you all for watching. And I hope to see some of you for the Healing Circle tomorrow night. Big love to you all and have a beautiful, beautiful day.